So the other day, Shawn Porter came out contradicting his previous statements he had made on Jaron Ennis, where he stated in the past that Jaron Ennis is Roy Jones 2.0. He's the second coming of Roy Jones, and he's the closest thing to a Roy Jones. This is what Shawn Porter had to say about Jaron Ennis in the past. Fast forward to this day, Shawn Porter said that Jaron Ennis is overrated. Check it out.
Is this dude really the real? Is this dude really the real? I said he's a welterweight Roy Jones Jr.
A few moments later.
Boots is overrated.
So let's try to make sense out of this. According to Shawn Porter, Jaron Ennis is a welterweight Roy Jones Jr. But with that same breath, Shawn Porter also believes Jaron Ennis is overrated. I mean, that makes no sense whatsoever. That is so hypocritical by Shawn Porter, because you cannot say someone is overrated, then compare them to the most gifted fighter of all time. Roy Jones is top 5 greatest of all time. Being overrated and being compared to Roy Jones don't even belong being in the same room together, let alone the same sentence. See, since Shawn Porter had already compared Jaron Ennis to Roy Jones Jr., the logical thing to say afterwards is that Jaron Ennis is underrated, not the other way around. So I encourage Shawn Porter, if he wants to be taken seriously as an analyst, to actually think before he makes a statement, especially if he's gonna completely contradict something he said prior. Because to me, this almost looked intentionally done on purpose in order to get Jaron Ennis' attention. At least, that's what I had assumed was the purpose. I was assuming maybe Shawn Porter sees something in Jaron Ennis and he wants to come out of retirement to fight Jaron Ennis. However, that was clearly not the case, because Jaron Ennis actually came out responding to Shawn Porter by stating, quote, "I heard you, Shawn Porter, say I was overrated. You were just saying I'm ready and too much for these guys, laugh out loud. And you said you won't fight me, but keep that same energy though. If I'm so overrated, come out of retirement and fight me. Nah, people retire and I'm overrated." In addition to that, Jaron Ennis said maybe Crawford punched Shawn Porter a little too hard and he lost some of his brain cells. So after Jaron Ennis said all of that in response, I was expecting Shawn Porter to come out and accept the challenge, especially when you factor in Porter just fought Crawford, who has a similar style to Jaron Ennis. So Shawn Porter is very familiar with that type of style. However, it was the contrary. Shawn Porter turned down the Jaron Ennis by stating that he's retired and his career is over. When Shawn Porter was asked would he come out of retirement to fight Jaron Ennis, he said no, not for Ennis, not for anyone. Therefore, with that being the case, what was Shawn Porter thinking to call the man that he compared to Roy Jones overrated? I'm not sure I even want to know, because I'm pretty sure the answer won't make sense, just like his statement. You can't say Jaron Ennis is overrated because no one has him on the top pound for pound list like they had Gennady Golovkin or Vasyl Lomachenko when he was 8-1-0. When he already had a loss with only 8 fights, they had Lomachenko as pound for pound number 1 on ESPN. See, that's the definition of overrated. Someone being rated way higher than they actually supposed to be. For example, the way they had Lomachenko as pound for pound number 1. The way they put Gennady Golovkin on the list of the best 25 fighters of the past 25 years, along with Chocolatito. And the way they have the European Assassin, the pioneer of the NBF League in the sport of boxing, listed as number 1 pound for pound, Canelo Alvarez, even though he's ducking every single body that's actually a somebody in the sport of boxing. To make matters worse, not caring if he's on steroids, so on and so forth. That's the definition of overrated. It's Lomachenko, Chocolatito, Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez. But I can guarantee you Shawn Porter never called any of these fighters on the hope list overrated, even when they are factually speaking overrated. However, Shawn Porter is so quick to pull the trigger and call a brother on the coincidental list overrated, even when factually speaking, he's not overrated, since he is not on any pound for pound list, nor is he listed anywhere higher than he actually should be. If anything, he's listed lower than he actually should be. So he's underrated, if anything. That's what makes Shawn Porter's statement ludicrous and has no substance whatsoever. I mean, Shawn Porter had the audacity to call Canelo the greatest of his era, which is the definition of overrated. However, he calls Jaron Ennis, of all people, overrated when he's not rated anywhere. I have already made a video on Shawn Porter calling Canelo the greatest, which I'm gonna leave the link for that video in the comment section below. Last but not least, you can't even call Jaron Ennis overhyped because the hype is real, even according to Shawn Porter himself. You guys have to realize, old media never hyped up Jaron Ennis. His rivals did. Virgil Ortiz did, by stating he wants no parts of Jaron Ennis. At least, not right now. So did Conor Ben. So did Keith Thurman. Matter of fact, Keith Thurman took it a step further. He compared him to Floyd Mayweather and Sweet Pea Whitaker. Danny Garcia also said that he wants no parts of Jaron Ennis and gave him high praise. Both Errol Spence and Crawford gave Jaron Ennis high praise and said that he's the biggest threat to the welterweight division and he will beat Virgil Ortiz. That's what Crawford said. So again, how is he overhyped when his rivals respecting him? How is he overhyped when his peers and rivals are the ones that's actually hyping him up? It ain't these decaps in the comment section. It's the former and current world champions in Jaron Ennis' own division that's hyping up Jaron Ennis. To make matters worse, Shawn Porter also said that Jaron Ennis is proven. Shawn Porter said it. He said, I can't say he's not proven because I know he's actually proven. So it's like, man, where is that overrated energy coming from? Where was that coming from, Shawn Porter? Then what kills me is that Porter would say Jaron Ennis has a pretty good chance of beating Terrence Crawford, who is boxing pound for pound #1, who knocked out Shawn Porter himself. He also said that he believes Jaron Ennis could beat Errol Spence, who is pound for pound #2, according to the majority of the real boxing fans, along with everybody at welterweight from Ugas and Keith Thurman. So it's like, damn, Shawn Porter is pretty much saying Jaron Ennis has the potential to be a top 5, a top 10 all-time great, then calls him overrated. And he tried to justify it by saying, oh, he don't smash them though. Man, ain't nobody gonna smash Terrence Crawford. What's that have to do with Jaron Ennis being overrated though? When old media and the popular narrative say Jaron Ennis is not the brightest talent on the come up in the welterweight division. They say it's Conor Ben, Virgil Ortiz. Old media had never gave Jaron Ennis the credit he deserved. Even though they know the truth, they know what time it is because they tell Conor Ben, they tell Virgil Ortiz all of the times to stay away from Jaron Ennis as far as possible because the hype is real. If Jaron Ennis is overrated, there will be a line of fighters lined up to fight Jaron Ennis in order to expose him, right? But guess what? There is nobody, and I mean literally nobody on the line, including Shawn Porter himself. He said Jaron Ennis is like a Roy Jones Jr. I don't want no part of him. I will never fight Jaron Ennis. He said that when he was still active. But like Jaron Ennis said, as soon as he retires, all of a sudden I'm overrated. We all know what time it is. Shawn Porter is on code just like always. He will go out of his way to criticize a brother on the coincidental list, even if he's wrong, but he will never criticize a fighter on the hope list, even if he's right. With the facts being laid out, drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.
Oh my God. Hey, like that.